Chosen one, there is the reason the path ahead feels both close and unreachable. You can sense it, the breakthrough, the shift, the fulfillment of what you were promised. It's right there, hovering in your atmosphere, breathing around you like something sacred, waiting for its appointed hour. But you've also felt the urge to move, to make it happen faster, to push the timing, to escape the stillness that's been testing your patience. Yet deep inside, something warns you not to move yet. Because moving too soon can cost you what's already written to be yours. The promise isn't denied, but it can be delayed when impatience steps ahead of purpose. This season isn't punishment, it's divine preparation. Before we go deeper, I want you to take a breath and allow your spirit to align with what's meant for you. Watch this video until the end, where every word carries energy meant to reach your soul in perfect timing. And if you believe this message is confirmation for your journey, write your warmest wishes and 777 in the comments below. That number is the symbol of divine completion, of dreams manifesting in their season, not before. When you do this, you're releasing your energy into motion, sending a signal to the universe that you trust the process and are ready for divine alignment. You've been walking through a strange tension lately, a feeling that something big is coming, but also that something inside you is resisting the weight. That's not random. You're standing at the edge of destiny where timing is more dangerous than failure. You're not being slowed down because you're unworthy. You're being slowed down because what's forming requires precision. The divine doesn't rush masterpieces. Every delay is a design, every silence a strategy. If you move too early, you'll arrive in places where your spirit isn't ready to handle the weight of what you asked for. Timing isn't denial. It's protection, dressed as patience. There's a specific kind of stillness the chosen experience before elevation. It's not quiet because nothing's happening. It's quiet because everything is happening beneath the surface. You may not see the shift, but it's already unfolding in unseen realms. Doors are aligning. People are being positioned. The promise is being built in silence. But impatience whispers that waiting means wasting, that if you don't act now, the opportunity will vanish. That's the trick of fear. It disguises itself as urgency. It tells you that movement equals progress when sometimes stillness is the only movement that matters. You are in a season where stillness is sacred. The divine is refining your character, strengthening your discernment, and preparing you to handle what's next. If you move too soon, you'll find yourself surrounded by things you prayed for but can't sustain. You'll touch blessings that weren't ready to hold you. The promise will feel heavy instead of holy because the foundation isn't complete yet. Sometimes the weight isn't about the promise catching up to you, so it's about you catching up to the promise. You see, destiny has a rhythm. It's not a race, it's a divine choreography. Every move is timed. Every step designed to intersect perfectly with purpose. When you try to force it, you break the rhythm and create unnecessary chaos. Think of how the universe moves, and the sun rises not when it wants to, but when it's time. The stars don't compete for attention. They shine when the night is ready. You too are being aligned with cosmic precision. The delay isn't against you, it's working for you. Many people lose their blessings not because they lacked faith, but because they lacked patience. They tried to carry a vision that wasn't fully birthed, and it collapsed under pressure. They mistook movement for progress and ended up walking in circles. Don't let that be you. You're not waiting aimlessly. You're waiting with purpose. Every day you stay obedient to the timing, something inside you is being fortified. Every moment of restraint becomes a seed of longevity. The promise that lasts is the one that's built slowly. There are things you've prayed for that would have destroyed you had they arrived too early. That relationship, that opportunity, that position, it's not that you weren't ready for them, it's that they weren't refined enough to meet the version of you that's still emerging. The divine knows the full blueprint, and what looks like delay to you is just calibration. The pieces are being fitted so that when it happens, it won't need constant fixing. It'll flow. It'll feel natural because it will be time. You've been tested in silence to see whether you trust what you can't see. That's what separates the chosen from the impulsive. Faith that waits even when logic says move. Patience is not passive, it's powerful. It's an act of war against fear. It tells the universe, I trust divine order more than my own control. And when you stand firm in that faith, everything that was meant for you begins to gravitate toward you without force. You've probably noticed that every time you try to rush, something stops you. A closed door, a delay, an unexpected turn. That's divine interference. You're being protected from premature exposure. You might not see the danger, but the divine does. There are people waiting in places you think you're ready for who aren't meant to meet you. There are rooms that look inviting but carry energy that could suffocate your purpose. If you arrived there now, your light would be dimmed before it had a chance to shine fully. That's why you're being held back. Not to frustrate you, but to preserve your impact. Think of it this way. A seed can't bloom in every season. If you force it to sprout before the soil is ready, it will die quickly. But if you let the process unfold, if you trust the rain, the dark, and the waiting, it will break through with unstoppable life. You are that seed right now. The soil is your preparation, the darkness is your protection, the promise is your harvest. But the timing, that belongs to the divine. You are standing between promise and patience, and this space is sacred. This is where faith becomes maturity. It's where desire transforms into discipline. You're learning that waiting isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You're realizing that what's meant for you will never miss you, but what's not meant for you will destroy your peace trying to reach it. The divine isn't just giving you the promise, it's preparing you to keep it. You may feel like you're being overlooked, but you're being observed. The universe is watching how you handle this in-between moment. It's testing whether your gratitude depends on progress, or if you can still be thankful in the silence, because if you can praise in the wait, you'll be trusted with the promise. This is the season where your silence is building strength, your patience is earning power, and your restraint is protecting destiny. Don't mistake inactivity for stagnation. Still waters reflect the clearest image. What feels like stillness now is actually alignment preparing to break through. When it happens, it will happen fast, but only when the divine says now. You've probably felt it, that restless pull in your chest that keeps whispering, maybe if I just move, things will finally change. The waiting feels like a cage sometimes, and the silence feels louder than any storm you've faced. You keep replaying the possibilities in your mind, convincing yourself that maybe, just maybe, the promise needs a little help to manifest. But deep down, something inside you resists. That's not laziness, that's divine restraint. You're being held back by unseen hands because the wrong move at the wrong time could cost you what's meant to last a lifetime. The greatest trap for those on the verge of destiny isn't failure, it's premature movement. The universe doesn't withhold to punish, it withholds to protect. There are spiritual laws at work, patterns that govern manifestation. When something is meant for you, it's magnetized to your frequency, but if your vibration is still shifting, if you're still healing, growing, learning, moving too early pulls you out of sync. It's like opening the oven before the bread is ready. The outside looks perfect, but the inside collapses. And you, with all your potential, deserve a destiny that's fully risen. This moment of pause you're in isn't a delay, it's a preparation chamber. You're being refined in quiet ways that you don't even see. The divine is rearranging your desires, redirecting your focus, and removing distractions disguised as opportunities. Some doors have been closed, not because you knocked wrong, but because behind them was a version of success that would have broken you. You might have seen glory, but the divine saw danger. You wanted movement, but heaven wanted maturity. There's something powerful about learning how to wait with faith instead of frustration. It transforms your energy from desperation to alignment. You stop asking when and start saying whenever it's right. That shift rewires your entire atmosphere. Suddenly the anxiety fades and you start to see signs everywhere. Little confirmations that you're closer than it seems. Synchronicities begin to align. People start to fade or appear according to divine scheduling. And your heart begins to recognize patterns you missed before. Every delay has a language. When doors close, it's not silence, it's instruction. The universe speaks through pauses, through blocked paths, through divine interruptions that redirect your steps. That no you keep hearing isn't rejection. It's translation for not yet, you're still becoming. Because when the right moment arrives, you won't need to force it. It will flow effortlessly, naturally, as if it was always meant to happen. Because it will be. If you've been feeling invisible lately, understand this. Hidden seasons are holy. You're not forgotten. You're being preserved. The most dangerous thing that could happen right now would be premature visibility. Some people want the spotlight but can't handle the heat that comes with it. Some want influence but don't realize that power magnifies flaws. You're not being denied the stage, you're being perfected for it. When your time comes, your presence will command the room without you having to demand attention. That's what divine timing does. It makes your arrival undeniable. Think about this. Every major blessing requires endurance. The universe always tests readiness before reward. It's not enough to want the promise. You have to be stable enough to sustain it. And that's what this waiting is doing, stabilizing your heart. The promise isn't being delayed, you're being anchored. The higher the building, the deeper the foundation must go. You're not behind, you're being rooted. That's why everything feels still. Roots grow downward before branches reach upward. You've seen others move ahead, and it's easy to compare. You see them getting results while you're still preparing. But not every open door is divine. Some are traps wrapped in timing that looks tempting. Don't envy speed when your purpose was built for endurance. Some people will shine for a moment and disappear because they forced what wasn't meant to last. But you were never meant for moments. You were made for legacy. The kind of success written for you doesn't fade because it's sustained by purpose, not performance. Patience is a spiritual investment. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, trust instead of rush, you multiply your future rewards. You may not see it yet, but your patience is building momentum in unseen dimensions. The universe remembers the hearts that wait faithfully. It writes their names into divine timing and aligns opportunities that no man can manipulate. You are one of those names. That's why it's felt like doors open and close suddenly, because your story isn't random, it's orchestrated. There's a quiet test hidden in the silence. Can you stay still when everything around you screams, "Move now"? Can you trust that not acting is sometimes the most powerful act of faith? Most people break right before the breakthrough. They move too soon, thinking they're taking control, when in reality they're walking away from what was already theirs. Don't let impatience rewrite your destiny. What's coming is worth the wait. Every promise has a process. Every process has a pace. The universe doesn't rush creation, and neither should you. When the timing is right, the same doors that refuse to open will swing wide without resistance. The waiting will end, the silence will break, and everything that felt delayed will unfold in divine sequence. But you'll only recognize it because you waited long enough to understand why the wait mattered. So for now, breathe, stay steady, keep trusting. The quiet you're living through is not a void, It's sacred construction. The divine isn't late, it's exact. What's meant for you is calibrating to your readiness, aligning perfectly to your energy. When it arrives, it will not just bless you, it will fit you. And that perfect fit will make you realize one truth: every second of patience was worth it. There comes a moment when you stop fighting the silence and start listening to it. You begin to realize that stillness isn't empty, it's full of answers. The longer you sit with yourself, the more you start to see why things had to unfold slowly. Every delay, every pause, every unanswered prayer was shaping something within you. You were being stripped of the need to control, refined in the fires of uncertainty, taught to trust timing rather than manipulate outcomes. The version of you that used to rush is gone. What stands now is wiser, quieter, and far more powerful. Waiting has changed your perception. You no longer see pauses as punishment, you see them as divine strategy. Every closed door taught you emotional balance. Every slow season taught you resilience. Every moment of waiting became a sacred classroom where your patience was tested, your ego dismantled, and your faith strengthened. You learned that maturity isn't about how fast you move, it's about how calmly you wait when nothing seems to move at all. This awareness is what separates dreamers from receivers. The dreamers chase, the receivers align. The deeper you grow, the more you understand that rushing never brings peace. It may bring results, but not peace. And peace is the only environment where the promise can thrive. That's why the divine slowed you down with Psalms, not to hurt you, but to prepare you for sustained blessing. Quick success without spiritual structure collapses, but growth that's anchored in patience endures storms. You were never meant to rise fast, you were meant to rise forever. This slow rhythm you've been walking in has been recalibrating your soul. You're learning that divine timing is not about delay, it's about synchronization. When you rush, you move ahead of alignment and end up carrying things you were never meant to bear. But when you wait, things begin to fall into place naturally. People, opportunities, and moments align without force. You start to see how everything that once frustrated you was actually a piece of divine choreography, a sequence meant to perfect your timing before the stage lights turn on. There's a quiet kind of strength that grows in waiting. It's the strength that doesn't need validation, the kind that can hold peace even when surrounded by uncertainty. You've started to notice this strength within yourself, the ability to breathe even when you don't have all the answers. That's spiritual maturity. It's when you no longer beg the universe to hurry up because you've realized that divine time cannot be rushed. Every destiny has a season of becoming, and right now, you're in the most sacred part, the unseen preparation before the unveiling. You're learning how to hold peace instead of panic, how to anchor yourself when nothing feels certain. You're becoming someone who doesn't move just because the world says, now. You move when your soul says, ready. That shift in authority from external noise to internal knowing is what defines the chosen. You've stopped measuring progress by speed and started measuring it by peace, and that's how you know transformation has taken root. The hardest part of growth is realizing that divine timing often contradicts human logic. People around you may not understand why you're still waiting. They'll say things like, you're wasting time, you're missing opportunities, or you need to act before it's too late, but they can't see what's happening in the invisible realm. You're not missing anything, you're being aligned. There's a difference between movement and momentum. Movement is noise, momentum is power. You're not standing still, you're being charged. In the quiet, your spirit has been rewired. You've stopped asking, when will it happen? And started asking, what am I learning right now? That's how divine readiness begins. When curiosity replaces frustration. You've learned that the promise isn't just about receiving something, it's about becoming someone. The waiting is the molding. You're being shaped into a vessel that can carry what's coming without breaking under the weight of it. The patience that feels painful now is building capacity. And soon you'll understand why the divine didn't let you move when you wanted to. You'll look back and see how the things that once made you impatient would have drained your purpose if you had touched them too soon. You'll see that the detours weren't distractions, they were directions. Every time you were forced to stop, something unseen was being built on your behalf. The divine doesn't make mistakes, it makes masterpieces that take time. This is your season of quiet construction. It's not glamorous, but it's necessary. You're learning the balance between surrender and action, between readiness and rest. The universe is teaching you to be both patient and prepared, calm yet expectant. Because when the promise finally arrives, it won't require rushing. It will fit your life perfectly, like it was always waiting for you too. And in that moment, you'll realize that the waiting wasn't wasted, it was worship. Every second you held your peace when you could have forced your will became a declaration of faith. You were saying, I trust the divine more than my timeline. That faith didn't go unnoticed. It was recorded in eternity. It's the very thing that's unlocking your next chapter now. The promise hasn't been cancelled. It's maturing. And so are you. Stay steady. The delay isn't a wall, it's a womb. Something divine is forming, and when it's ready to be birthed, nothing and no one will be able to stop it. You can feel it now. The atmosphere around you has started to change. The stillness that once felt endless is beginning to hum with quiet momentum. It's not loud or dramatic, it's subtle, steady, almost invisible, but you can sense it deep within your spirit. Something is moving, not because you forced it, but because you waited long enough for divine order to activate. This is what it feels like when patience starts to pay off. The timing you once questioned is now working in your favor. The things that were hidden are beginning to align. What was silent is starting to speak. The shift has begun. You've entered a sacred threshold between waiting and fulfillment. Every lesson you endured, every tear you released, every moment you chose faith over frustration has been recorded in divine memory. The universe remembers your endurance, and now it's responding, not because you demanded it, but because you're finally aligned with what you were always meant to receive. The energy around you no longer feels heavy, it feels pregnant with possibility. That's the sign of divine timing, when the air itself feels like it's carrying your destiny. This moment isn't about rushing into action, but recognizing that action is now being guided, not forced. You no longer need to make things happen, you need only to follow the flow that's already unfolding. The doors that used to resist are starting to open naturally. Conversations that once led nowhere are suddenly bearing fruit. People who left your life are being replaced by those who understand your frequency. This is what divine restoration looks like. Nothing forced, everything fitting. The path that once felt blocked is now because you didn't move before the promise was mature. Waiting refined you. It burned away your impulsiveness and replaced it with intuition. It taught you how to sense timing, how to hear when the universe whispers instead of when it shouts. Now, you don't move because you're desperate, you move because you're directed. You can feel when something is aligned because it flows without friction. You can sense when something's off because peace immediately withdraws. That's what discernment looks like. There's the spiritual sensitivity that comes only through patience. You've reached a point of peace that no external circumstance can disturb. Even when uncertainty tries to creep back in, you no longer panic. You remember the lessons of the waiting season, how rushing never worked and how stillness always brought revelation. You've learned that if something isn't flowing easily, it's not meant for right now. You no longer chase timing, you trust it. And in that trust, life begins to rearrange itself around your faith. The divine often hides momentum in ordinary moments. That's why you may not see fireworks right away. The breakthrough doesn't always announce itself with thunder. Sometimes it appears in small confirmations. A call that changes everything. A random opportunity that feels too perfect to be coincidence. A feeling in your spirit that says, it's time. When those signs appear, you'll know. You won't have to second guess or overthink. It'll feel peaceful, not pressured. That's how divine alignment reveals itself, through ease, not urgency. And now, because you've waited faithfully, you're stepping into a new kind of movement, one that's steady, sustainable, and guided. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. The ones meant to recognize your light will see it effortlessly. The ones meant to walk beside you will align naturally. There's no need to convince, compete, or chase. Everything assigned to your spirit will find you because you stayed in your rightful place of timing. There's a quiet beauty in realizing that your breakthrough didn't come from striving, but surrender. You didn't manipulate the process. You trusted it. You didn't beg for openings. You built endurance. You didn't chase signs. You became one. And that's why this next season will feel different. You won't need to exhaust yourself to maintain what's coming. It will fit, flow, and flourish because it's rooted in divine alignment. The same stillness that once tested you has now turned into your strength. You can move forward now without fear of losing the promise because you're no longer operating from impatience. You're operating from purpose. Every lesson, every waiting season, every night you wondered if it was all worth it. It was. The universe never wastes patience. Every delay was a seed, and you're standing in the field where they're finally starting to bloom. What's happening next won't require effort, it will require presence. All you have to do now is stay aligned with the peace that brought you here. Don't rush ahead again. Don't let excitement make you forget the wisdom you've earned. The promise doesn't need to be chased, it needs to be carried with care. You've waited too long to move carelessly now. Step gently but confidently, because this is holy ground. The moment where preparation meets fulfillment. The divine is about to unfold what's been written for you all along. You'll see why it couldn't come sooner. You'll understand why you had to wait. Every delay, every silence, every setback will make perfect sense when you realize it was never a denial. It was a setup for timing so perfect, even your doubts will bow to it. The promise didn't miss you. It was simply waiting for the version of you that could keep it. The waiting is over. What once felt delayed now arrives effortlessly, like a wave you were destined to meet all along. The path that once demanded faith now shines with clarity. You can finally see that every pause was divine precision, not punishment. The moments you spent doubting were the same moments destiny was building strength inside you. The promise was never gone, it was sick. It was simply waiting for the version of you who could carry it without fear. Now everything flows. The right people find you. Opportunities align naturally. Peace walks beside you like an old friend, reminding you that patience was always the real power. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you embody. The universe moves with you now, not ahead of you. As you step into this new season, remember what the waiting taught you, and that rushing forfeits the miracle, but surrender manifests it. What was meant for you has finally arrived, and this time it will last. You didn't lose time, you gained wisdom. You didn't miss the promise, you became it. The silence that once tested you has now turned into music. Everything around you moves in harmony with divine timing. You no longer fear delays because you've seen what patience creates. The waiting made you wise, calm, and unshakable. Now every breath feels lighter, every step aligned. You've learned that what's truly meant for you doesn't require force. It finds you, stays with you, and grows with you. The promise wasn't delayed, it was perfected.